All right. It says I'm live. Oh, Lordy, what a, I don't know. Anyway, I've restarted my computer. I have started a new stream, and hopefully you can find me. But wow, that's anyway. Um, Yay! I'm glad that it's finally working. That's awesome. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what was going wrong because I could chat. Um, it it said the internet connection was unstable, but it wasn't gone. And then when I anyway, I'm back. We'll go a few minutes beyond the time for those of you who are so inclined, and hopefully it'll hold up until we wrap up. Oh, all right. Technology is great when it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. So, just the nature of the beast. But I wish. I'm sorry. Let's just say that I'm sorry it happened like that. But we're back. So I'll just try and reload my brain as far as what I was thinking about here. So I'm just scooping up my little bits, my rings and things, and bits of because I want to put this here. That's kind of fun, isn't it? This is what happens. This drives me crazy. Sometimes is I really like something I see that is part of coming up with something else. So then I have to decide if I'm going to go with it or not, and maybe it'll be a hybrid. So I'm going to look for some things to show through some of these holes, but I'm just thinking that maybe some of these things are going to stay green because it's kind of interesting having that flat color. But that's not the only thing, so get my brain reloaded here. Let my anxiety come down a little bit from trying to get the streaming figured out. And I'm looking for yellow things that I could show through that might be kind of there, like those flowers. I think that'll be great. Ooh, and that kind of has a biological feeling. I have all these interesting scraps in each of my drawers. I'm looking through my yellow drawer right now. So, I mean, that's not very yellow, but it's full of all kinds of yellow stuff. So, as I had been talking about before, the idea of putting something interesting that isn't the yellow lid that was in there originally. And like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like daffodils? Yeah. And that's got a really nice sort of stealthy feeling, which I really like. So I'm just going to look for some other options, but I think, that little crop of the daffodil, it's recognizably so what it is, but then it fits in there nicely. So I think I'm just going to go with that. And so in this case, when I'm composing by tucking things below, and by the way, hello, Rebecca. Yeah, I'm back. And hello, Irina. And Val, I'm glad you were able to find me. That's great. Unfortunately, I think we've lost some of the original folks, but at least you guys found your way here, so that's good. All right, so when I'm tucking stuff behind to show through holes, I'll usually just tape it in place at first. So I'll just use a little bit of tape to hold it in place while I compose. So in this case, yeah, I kind of like it. I want to see the sort of daffodil shape. So I think like that. Maybe, well, it has to be higher up. I want it to be at least up to the edge there. So as I cut it where I did, something like that. So I'll just get it lined up, and then I'll put a piece of tape on the back to be glued eventually. But that lets me try things. So that seems good. And I'm just looking and I'm thinking, yeah, I might cut out some more shapes still. Not sure exactly which ones yet, but yeah. But meanwhile, I'm going to try a few things in different places. So this one was a purple can, and so I've taken that out, but it has, you see some of the purple through or reflected in this clear bottle. So I'm going to look for something purple in my purple drawer for that. And just see whether I have something that would be surprising but still make visual sense there. And it will make visual sense if it has purple in it. There's an option. This has purple in it too, but I don't think that's what I want in this particular case. You know, it's interesting. I keep my collage materials in these drawers, right? This is my purple drawer I'm looking through now. And so two things that I noticed that are interesting about that. One is, I think the fact that I store collage materials, not all of them, but some of them in these colored drawers, affects the way I think about how I'm going to collage. So I tend to do more color-oriented thought process because I know I can reach for them. So that's thing one, right? So when you have a way of storing things, like the reason I chose to store things in colored drawers was it made sense to me, so that I could go looking for purple things, or I could go looking for blue things, or yellow, or whatever. So that's thing one. I thought that will support my collage practice, but it also, on the flip side, it does limit it as well, right? Because I sort of have an over-reliance on looking for color. Now, that said, normally I do look for color sometimes, and other times I don't use what's in the drawers very much. So that's thing one. Thing two is, I notice it's interesting that some drawers are overflowing, like my red drawer and my grays drawer, but my purple drawer is like less than half full. And either that's something about the preferences, like the color preferences that are out there in the materials I encounter, like magazines and so on, or I don't know, maybe, I don't know why, but it's interesting. My purple drawer does not have nearly as much stuff in it. It's possible that purple is not a color that is used as much in magazines, because magazines are my primary source for visual material. When I say visual material, other than like solid colors or patterns. So yeah, so I have fewer options in my purple drawer than I would have thought. So that's something I have to deal with. That's fine. So some of these will work reasonably well and others not so much. So that's interesting, showing through a snippet of like a bookcase, but the bookcase itself is purple, the bookcase and the walls. Then the other option is definitely this sort of feathery dress that is very purple. And because it is what it is, there are snippets of skin and type and so on. And do I try to avoid those, or do I include them, or and I'm not even sure that this, like the flowers in the trash, I think really speak convincingly. This, I think, less so. So maybe it should be, for instance, this, I use this for something else, so there's not much of it left, but it has both yellow and purple flowers in it. So maybe it could be another snippet of that, but with more of the purple towards this purple here. That could work. And it speaks better to what I'm trying to talk about thematically with flowers and trash, and so about different values, things we value differently. So I think that's what it's going to be. So now, of course, because these are temporary holds, I can always swap something out, but in this case, I think this is going to work well. So just have to find a place where I can tape it. All right. That's not ideal, but I'm going to put it, yeah, anyway. Little sort of things to fuss with at the back, but all right. Because what I want to do is I want to cut it down a bit from the size it is, so that it only really shows through that one hole. All right, so now we've got like a couple of snippets of flowers in among the trash. And something I want to try is like, what does it look like when I put some of these rings in as well? Now I should cut more. I only have a few of them. I haven't cut much in the way of jewelry yet. This is definitely a more, excuse me, a more is more collage rather than a less is more collage. As you guys probably know, I often do less is more collages, but this is the opposite. So All right, so I think I see sort of potential in that, but not sure I'm exactly where I want to be with it yet. So, all right, I'm going to go a bit longer. It's 1:30. It's when I don't even know what time it is. How bad is it when I get on my back foot? It's 3:30. So if you need to vamoose right at 3:30, thank you so much for joining us. Sorry about the tech issues. I'm going to stay on for another 10 minutes or so because I kind of feel gypped. So, and also I see we've got a few comments now. That's awesome. Hello, Michelle. Glad you found your way to the second stream. Awesome. And Cherie, so great to see you. It's been a while. How are you? That's great. I'm so glad you're here with us. Do I wear purple? Yeah, no, I don't really, it's not, for me, it's not a big color. So, but I actually don't wear a lot of color generally. I'm a little color shy. I'm going to try and change that. But you're right. It's probably at least partially personal preference. So, for sure. Cherie gravitates to black and white. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I have a lot of black, white, and gray in my wardrobe, but I do use a lot of strong color. But it's true, purple doesn't figure prominently. So just thinking about that, I think, all right, I should do more work with purple as a way of sort of getting sort of retraining or just trying it out, and like, because I think sometimes we limit ourselves unnecessarily because we think we don't like something, so we don't use it, and then it perpetuates that. Something I do in my classes when I set an assignment for people, and so I'm going to work along with them like online. I do my own version of it, but I'll often choose things that are like that exactly. Like, okay, I don't normally use purple, so if it's a monochromatic exercise, I'll choose a color that I don't use very much. And Cherie, it's interesting. I remember looking at my website at all my collages, like as little postage stamps. So I saw a lot of them at once and noticing that there wasn't much purple in it. So yeah, you're right. You're right. Hello, Valerie. Welcome aboard. She says, hi from Bonaire. Where is Bonaire? That's awesome. She says, I love how you showed your design thought process. I'm more of a design as you go, not having a destination in mind before starting. Yeah, I have a graphic design background, so I think it's kind of like therapy for me to avoid over planning a lot of the time, because I've spent so much time with that kind of thing. So I really like being more intuitive, responsive. But sometimes I'll come across an idea in doing that, like I was talking about with this one, where I like then have to double back and like, oh, that's a really good idea that I wouldn't have got to unless I was working sort of open-endedly. But then it's like, okay, now I have to go back, and that idea requires some preparation, right? Like finding particular images or stuff like that. So that, but it's found by this intuitive process. So yeah. Bonaire is in Caribbean, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. Wow, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's for me, it's always really exciting to have people from further afield. So Welcome, welcome. That's awesome. How did you find us? Were you searching collage online, or did you find us through Collage Magazine? I'm curious. That's so great. Welcome. I hope we only have a few minutes left in this one, but I hope yeah, Collage Magazine, perfect. Yeah, I hope you join us again. It's really great. Most of our people are in Canada. But we have like Irina, who's on this stream, is in Germany, and I've had some people from the US too. So it's nice to have them to be growing internationally. That's so great. And so, Valerie, I also have a Facebook page called Virtual Collage Jam Group, and it's a I'll encourage everyone here to post their collages that they did today or any other collages in that group. You have to request to join because it's a private group, but once you've joined and I've accepted you, then you can post anytime you like. And so, for instance, it's really great to be able to see what other people did with the same theme. So I hope you'll play along with us. Yeah, I love prompts too, Cherie. That's why I decided to do this virtual collage jam that way. A prompt is it's a starting point, right? It gets you going, and then ultimately you can decide whether or not, because sometimes the prompt gets you going, but it hits you off in a different direction, and then you just like, well, you know what? This direction I've decided to hit off on is fine. That's cool, much better. So as long as it serves to get you going, then it's done its job, right? So I know writers groups use prompts a lot as a way of starting. So and most of our prompts on Virtual Collage Jam are words or phrases, but we do use I think in a few weeks time I'm going to be dipping into Paris Collage Collectives, and they use visual prompts. So we'll be using one of Paris Collage Collectives visuals as a starting point in a few weeks. So, and if anyone else has any ideas that they want to share with me, put a comment in the Virtual Collage Jam group on Facebook about if there are kinds of prompts you'd like to see. Like something that occurs to me that we haven't actually used is, like, for instance, a piece of music or a piece of architecture or something like that, something that is outside of visual or written. So that might be something worth trying too. So it's more about making it fun and interesting for us, right? So if you have any ideas, just pop them in the Virtual Collage Jam group about them, and I'll check them out. All right, that said, I have to decide where I'm going with this. I joke often that I can either talk or collage, and I've been talking plenty, but I haven't been collaging, have I? So maybe I'll try and get just a little bit of that done. So I'm not sure that that I'm really going in the perfect direction for this one, but I am going to just see where it goes, and I'll figure it out as I go along. So for instance, the idea that I had about putting flowers in, like that's a great idea, I think. But then I'd have to like go do some more research. And the idea came up, in the process of doing this, but I don't have enough flowers right at hand, images of flowers, but I can easily get them. But that would take a little time, right? So that might be where this collage ultimately goes. But just meanwhile, I'm being playful and just trying some things showing through. So just to see if it sparks anything, any other insights or ideas. So this is something that also happens to me as I will often play with the flip side of something. So if you're cutting the images out of magazines, there's usually something on the flip side, and sometimes it's more interesting than what you cut out. But also, some of the things I cut out of this image are recognizable by their silhouette, like a bottle and a can. That has enough to be recognizable as a can, which is what it is, right? So just like these shapes, which are sort of flat graphic green showing through, it might be interesting to then have some flat graphic white things superimposed that, like this one has come out of this spot, but it could then find its way elsewhere, like maybe off an edge, so that I cut it like that. And that's kind of interesting because both the white and green are sort of flat graphic rather than the images. So it would depend on their silhouettes being reasonably recognizable in cans and bottles, especially the tops of bottles. But for instance, this shape that came out of here, it's not really recognizable as anything. So it's maybe not the best candidate for this. But these might be. So, and it could actually, like this can got cut off at one edge. I think, yeah, that's from there. So it could be up against another edge over here instead. Like it's partially underneath that bottle, or underneath these flowers, for instance. So, yeah. There is something that I really love, and that's the graphic designer in me again, I guess, is about the combination of photographic and flat color. So they show each other up nicely, right? Because the photographs look more dimensional, more interesting compared to the flat colors, and the flat colors look cleaner compared to the busy photography. So, yeah. So these rings are recognizable as rings, but the other side of them, well, first of all, it's a different image, but the shape is not convincingly a ring image, right? If it were rounder, you could see the hoop of it, it'd be more recognizable. So I just have too many ideas coming in, and I'm not. They can't all go in here. But right now, I'm juggling a lot. Like, oh, maybe I should put some of these letters in. And it's like too many ideas. So I'm going to wrap up now because I need to think about this one a bit. I will be curious to see what you guys post about Trash or Treasure. So please do post some things. I'm going to switch my camera so that I can you guys can see me before I wrap up. There we go. There we go. And get that started down a little bit so you can see me. And I'm just going to check what our next date is so that you guys know. Come on, calendar. Where are you? All right. So our next date is March 24th. And my calendar doesn't say what the theme is. So we'll be posting streams relatively soon for a whole bunch of them, rather than I've just been sort of like scrabbling as quickly as I can to get each stream up and ready in time, just in time to do it. But I'm bound and determined to be more organized. So yeah. So watch both the web page. Excuse me. There's a page on my website that lists all of the Virtual Collage Jam prompts. There, I'll have the stream set up so you'll be able to check my YouTube channel under Virtual Collage Jam and so on. So, well, I can't tell you what theme we've got. I can tell you it's on Monday, the 24th of March, and I hope to see you then. Cherie says, saw 2 of your subversive signs at Humber College Assembly Hall. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I still haven't been down to see it. They bought a few signs, and yeah, I'm embarrassed to say I still haven't seen them, but I'm glad you saw them. That's awesome. Rebecca says, thanks, Kat. Nice to see you. Likewise. Ignore my message on your phone. No, Rebecca, that message is what triggered me, because I had my head down, my phone beeped, which I was using for timing, and it would have been spinning for who knows how long. So thank you for that message. Val says, thanks, despite the video issues, it was still good to see you. Yeah. Likewise, Val, thanks for putting up with the tech issues, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And Cherie says, posted them in situ on the VCG Virtual Collage Jam page. Awesome. And yeah, great to catch up with you too, Sherry. So, sorry, Cherie. I have another student who spells it the same way, and she's Sherry, and you're Cherie. So I have to work on that. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for putting up with the tech issues, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Same bat channel. Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks, Irina. I'm glad. So look forward to seeing stuff, guys. Take care.